From NBC News, this is Today with Kathie Lee Gifford and Hoda Kotb.
And we are back on this Thursday with today's relationships and how to feel closer after a fight.
It's like being war buddies.
It is. You know what? We have all been there. We raised a voice, or Mark, you didn't mean, and then you both get kind of upset, and you're angry and you're hurt. But how do you get past all that? We are going to tell you. We have Kate White here. She is the editor-in-chief of Cosmo Magazine, and she's here along with Dr. Ish.
Ish.
You love that word.
It's the worst
She's
of
so
everything.
happy. Major. That's psychiatrist.
We're not getting along-ish.
All right, so we've all been in fights with our husbands, boyfriends, or whatnot. And you say something you don't mean, and it's cruel. And it's, I don't know, whether it's you're a jerk isn't so cruel, but you say something, how do you unring the bell, or can you?
Well, you've got to do more than apologize if you've really said something stupid like that. You've got to try to neutralize it, or else those words are going to hang out in his head. So if you have said, you're a jerk, you could say something like, boy, aren't I a jerk for saying something so silly? Or if you've threatened to divorce him, you could say, hey, I was being overdramatic, overreacting, but try to neutralize it.
And send a stripper. I always found that hard.
I should have added that.
When you got in fights, Carrie, in relationships, did you fight? How did you fight?
We never fought. It was so beautiful. So it got boring. No, it is tough. You try to make it, I think, funny.
Yeah. Humor works-ish, does it?
Humor works, but be careful. It only works if the other person thinks it's funny. And so with guys, we brood and we tend to hold on things a little more. So let a little distance pass before you inject the humor, because if it's too soon, he's going to think you're making light of the situation.
Well, here's the thing about the cooling off period, because sometimes you need a little bit of time, a lot of time. According to this study, 9% of guys need no time. Right. Okay, 25% need 10 minutes to cool off. 40% need an hour. And 26% need a full day.
We did that poll. What was interesting is that some 25% practically needed a whole day. So you've got to be aware that not everybody's ready to get all lovey-dovey, at the same time. I like the fact that the hour thing, because it was sort of the length of a television show for a lot of guys. You just let them go watch a show.
Except for, the football game.
But he might need that, too.
And touching, this is, when you're in an argument and you're really going at it, is it a good idea to make contact or not? Does it help?
It depends on the timing. Yeah. So after the argument and you had your cool off period, now you're going back in to assess the damage. I tell women to do the sit test. Go in and sit right next to them. Make sure some part of your body is touching them. Leg, arm, shoulder, which is the vest, or your thigh. If he immediately pulls away, the argument's still on. If he doesn't move, it's over and you're in there.
What about the thing about going to bed angry? When you got in fights, did you sometimes just go to sleep angry and wake up and try to forget about it?
I'm sure I did. I try to forget. But no, I think it's important to teach your mate to say, you may have a point. It takes a long time to learn that sentence.
Yeah, you know what? It is true. Because sometimes they've got something that makes sense.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, when you talk about humor, because I know that's something that kind of works, what do the women think of humor after a fight?
I think they like it if it does break the tension, and it's humor about something that you guys always laugh about, because that not only breaks the tension, but it also reinforces the idea that you've got a great bond with each other.
Sometimes the arguments, though, you can go way below the belt, and sometimes you, honest to God, you didn't mean it, but you just grabbed his Achilles heel, and you just went for it, and that's a hard one to try to fix, isn't it?
That is. And so what I tell folks to do is beforehand do the fighting fair test. When things are good and you're lovey-dovey, just have a conversation. Say, gosh, honey, I really like the way we get along, and I just hate when couples argue all the time and they say mean, hurtful things, such as, and then you run your list of things. When things are good. Absolutely. Now you've defined the boundaries and the parameters for a fair fight.
All right, good. Kate's working on a new book as usual, so I'm sure we'll have you back for that in a little while. Guys, thanks so much for coming to see us.